Hello, this is Dr. Tay, and today's episode is MSG, Monosodium Glutamate. And here we go. All right, this is the Amazon link, and you could buy MSG about 16 ounces for $6.36, and you can put it in all kinds of foods. And MSG is short for monosodium glutamate and is naturally found in tomatoes, cheese, and it gives you that umami flavor that is found. And in Japan, a biochemist by the name of Kikunae Ikeda, who tried to isolate this savory taste from the kombu, and since then, it has been used to make blends and all of these things to make from stock bouillons, soups, ramen, gravy, stews, condiments, savory snacks, and now it's everywhere. And it was so much used in Chinese food back in the 70s and 80s that people who ate it for the first time had this uh, Chinese restaurant syndrome where people got this headache. And then they kind of like dismissed it, saying that these things are not real. And then a lot of people started associating Asian food or Chinese food with MSG. And in fact, the MSG headaches were associated with like xenophobia, saying that this is racist, and there's been like pushback from the Asian American community saying that it's like this is not cool to label MSG with like racism and all of these things. And so before I continue, on this video, one, this is for education and entertainment purposes. This is not intended as medical advice. So please contact your doctor about consuming MSG or whether you should take it out. Okay. Now, having said that, okay, let's look at the science behind it. Okay. So one of the things that, in order to test out medication, when a pharmaceutical company says, okay, in the United States, we have this like weight gain issue. So how do we test medication on animals before we test it on human beings, whether these fat loss products and things like that work or not? And so they need to find obese test subjects. In fact, nature does not produce obese test subjects. So in the lab, they have to make rats that are obese. And they try to force feed them and things like that, and it doesn't work because, rats like to eat to a certain level and stay where they're at and not go beyond that and keep on getting obese. So one of the things that they do is that they inject them with MSG. And I have a good picture right here. They inject 2 to 4 grams based on their body weight, and 1 to 3 months later, the rat starts getting obese, and 6 to 18 months later, they start developing diabetes type 2, just from putting MSG injections into these rats. And the guts, if you look over here, this is no MSG, this is MSG. And this is the article, the science. So this pictures comes from this article where in 1976, it kind of confirmed that MSG was having some sort of hypothalamic effect on it, and that it was damaging this, endocrine system. And this is where like food regulation, appetite regulation, sleep, and all of these hormonal and metabolism is being taken place, and that it was damaging them. And soon after, much later in time, I should say, around 2008, they did a huge study in China of what MSG was having an impact on Chinese adults. And guess what? It does the same thing. The more this study, which I'm not going to get into depth to, basically, people who were not taking MSG in their food was not getting fat, and the people who were taking MSG were getting fatter. And higher the dosage made the people that much fatter. Very straightforward study. Basically, no MSG, moderate intake, and for women, MSG has a higher effect compared to men, right? So the more you take it, the fatter you get. And that's what the study shows. And the effects of MSG is that it's damaging your hypothalamus. And there's this concept called hypothalamic obesity. And the hypothalamus is located at the base of the brain. While it's small, it regulates many important bodily functions like releasing hormones, controlling appetite, fluid balance, body temperature, and sleep cycles. And maintaining the body's internal energy balance, the metabolic rate, is important. And taking MSG causes like an injury to this area. And that's why when you eat Doritos, which is packed with MSG, you have to finish eating the bag. And people who eat chips oftentimes gains a lot of weight. And there's a stereotype on people who play video games on their screen and they're eating snacks, watching movies, and they don't get out. And these are the people who gain a lot of weight. And this is really, really true. So I don't want you to associate just MSG with Asian food. There's MSG in Doritos. A lot of the soups that you buy in cans are packed with it. The instant ramen is packed with that stuff. And Healthline tells you like, oh, you know, MSG is found in all of these food, fast food, chips and snack foods, seasoning blends, frozen meals, soups, processed meats, condiments, instant noodle products. Is MSG harmful? Well, in fact, the FDA regulates that this is okay. However, even in healthline.com, they cite resources. MSG consumption has been linked to obesity. That's a proven fact. There's no way around it. And liver damage, blood sugar fluctuations, elevated heart risk factors, behavior problems, nerve damage, and increased inflammation in animal studies. And there was a group of 349 adults where I think that was the Chinese study that I posted up. And so the more MSG you take, the worse it is. But, you know, why would the FDA regulate that these things are safe for human consumption when we know that these things are done? So I really encourage you to really look at the science of these things. And if you're Asian out there and you say like, oh, MSG is like a attack on Asian people, is xenophobia, like, then you're taking it personally, because MSG is in everything and anything right now. And if I could find this article, one of the second largest purchasers of MSG was Starbucks years back, if I remember correctly. And when you purchase Starbucks, when you look at the label, you don't see all the ingredients. And in order to create the enhancing the flavors of Starbucks, you're using MSG. Now, if I could find that article, so don't quote me on it, but I remember seeing an article that Starbucks was one of the second largest purchasers of MSG around the world, and that was Starbucks. And so I really encourage you to try not to buy these products. And remember, MSG is a naturally occurring compound, but when you make it into this powder and adding a lot of things to it, I don't think that's good. When I go eat hot pot, I usually ask for the dashi, the seaweed, and make the broth out of it. And that's the way like kimchi soup was made by a lot of people. They make these anchovies and make a fish stock real fast and then do that. So there's ways to cook to avoid MSG into your foods, and there are these cooking methods to bring that umami flavor. One of my real pet peeves is one person who pushes MSG and is normalizing MSG is Uncle Roger. Uncle Roger says in a comedic tone that MSG adds a lot of flavor, and if you don't like flavor, then you might be allergic to flavor. And he likes good food, and like when they make the fried rice video, he's like, "Oh, MSG, all good things," and things like that. And I think you're laughing at people's problems, and you're promoting this problem. So I'm not a big fan of MSG. So having said that, stay tuned for more videos, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos. Thank you. Bye bye.